Hi, my name is Ngayuan, and this is EFM, the resource center of all conversations on entrepreneurship in action. And we are doing an episode on market access where we talk about the journey that companies with new technologies take to find and build traction in markets outside of their own. And for the next few episodes, we will be featuring some companies from UK under the Tech Export Academy that will be on a virtual trade mission to the Asia Pacific, specifically to Malaysia. And to kickstart this series, I will first be speaking to His Excellency Charles Hay, Malaysia's British High Commissioner. And prior to Malaysia, his High Commissioner was the British Ambassador to South Korea from 2015 to 2018. So you've been here since March 2019, High Commissioner. Did you have enough time to get to know the country before the disruption that is the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you and your listeners. It's been an interesting period. So I've been here for 2 years, and it's really falls into two halves. The first half pre-COVID and the second half post-COVID. So it's been one of the big frustrations that I was only really starting to get to know Malaysia really well, traveling around and visiting all the different parts when COVID came. And of course, like everybody else since then, most of my life has been spent on a screen, trying to do the best I can to get to know Malaysia better and better.
So were there any things that were different from what was the impression versus what you found out? Or were there any surprises?
When I came to Malaysia first, no real surprises. I mean, this is my first posting here, so I didn't know Malaysia well before I came, but I was lucky enough to spend about 6 months in London studying Malay before I came. And that was a great opportunity to get to know Malaysia remotely, as it were. I mean, I've been taken aback by the beauty of the country, and I've had a chance to travel around a bit. And also the food is not something you can easily taste remotely. And the food here is so much better than the Malaysian food you get in the UK, although that is improving a lot as well.
Absolutely. It's really different. So you do know a couple of Malay words though?
Yeah.
Enough. So like apa khabar and beyond that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Although
okay.
I haven't kept it up as well as I should have done.
Well, no issue. I'm sure that we will help you catch up in no time. So let's talk about trade. Let's talk about the upcoming UK Tech Fest virtual mission. What is your expectation of this mission, given how we're actually in the situation of a pandemic?
Yeah, so of course, the pandemic has been a terrible time for many people. It's been a terrible time for our economies. A lot of people have been very ill. But we always have to try to see some bright sides and everything. And one of the interesting things that is coming out of COVID is the way that the move towards digital living and digital life and digital activity, which was already happening before COVID came, has been enormously accelerated. And we see that in the UK, where more and more people are shopping online, they're active online, they're doing Zoom calls, video calling. We're all getting much more used to living in a digital space. And that's obviously going to offer a lot of opportunities for tech companies. And the UK is very, very strong in tech for all sorts of reasons, which we might come on to a bit later on. So I'm delighted that we're going to be having this Tech Fest, which is happening next month. And it's a real opportunity to boost our bilateral tech trade and investment.
So let's talk about some of the tech companies that will be showcased and highlighted during this UK Tech Fest. What are some of your personal recommendations that we need to check out, for example?
Well, the UK has got an amazingly rich tech space. I mean, if you look at the way that tech has developed across the world, the UK really is one of the global leaders. Now, I would say that, wouldn't I, because I'm the British High Commissioner, but it is actually objectively true if you look at the figures. So, for example, if you look at tech investment, the UK is the premier destination in the EU by a long, long way, and we had about £10 billion worth of tech investment in 2019, and we got a third of all European tech investment. Now, why is the UK such a hot space for tech? I think there's a number of different reasons. The language, our education system, we have a long history of strength in tech. And we are now developing a lot of different tech clusters, which are really based around different universities originally, but now they're growing and becoming separate and growing of their own accord. Now that gives us a very rich kind of tech field. And for example, if you look at so-called unicorns, that is companies who are valued at more than $1 billion, the UK has more than 70 at the moment. In fact, I think we now have 77, which again is way ahead of most of what you would see in our competitors. And they span a wide range of different tech areas. And when I look at the list of the companies that are already signed up for TechFest, let me give you a couple of examples. So there's a company called Cascoda, which is a communications company, and they design and manufacture ultra low power semiconductor radios and modules. And that's really important for the communications and the Internet of Things. You know, when our fridge starts talking to our phone and our life starts to be run through this Internet of Things. So that's a really important
development. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So that's an important part of the sort of underwiring of all of that. Another one, humanizing autonomy. This is an interesting company in the AI space, and they're a camera-based predictive AI company. And what they do is they provide behavioral analysis to improve the interaction between people and machines. Again, another important part of that overall jigsaw puzzle of how we're going to live in the future connected world. And then Masabi, which is specializing in the digitization of fare payments in transport. Talensa, a market leader in smart, data-driven connected street lighting. So as you can see, a wide range of different companies. And because TechFest is online, there are going to be opportunities for companies to interact directly with each other. So I'm really hoping that we'll have a lot of Malaysian companies signing up for TechFest to take part in these opportunities.
And comparing business regulations in 190 economies in a study by the World Bank last year, Malaysia's come in 12th, moving up 3 places. And this is mainly due to consistent efforts to make regulations more efficient and accessible. And Malaysia, on top of that, also outperformed on 3 factors of primary costs, hourly compensation costs, real estate costs, corporate tax rates from a recent study by KPMG. So what are attracting UK companies to look at Malaysia as a market?
Our bilateral tech relationship has really flourished over the last 5 years when we signed a memorandum of understanding with MDEC, the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation. And since then, it's really been blossoming. So, for example, in the period since then, we've seen about 700 million ringgit of trade between our 2 countries in the tech area. We've got running now about 20 collaborations or investments by UK companies, and investment of around about 13 billion ringgit. And I've talked to a number of these tech investors, and what they say to me is that Malaysia is really interesting for them because the language, of course, we all operate in English, the legal systems are the same, it's a great place to be. And I don't think we should underestimate this as a draw for companies. The quality of life aspect is really, really important. But I think most important of all is the way that there is a great pool of educated people here. There's talented people here that can be employed in the tech sector. And the costs are, relatively speaking, lower than many other countries. So you have a sort of great combination of different factors that are drawing tech investors into Malaysia. And there's a lot of interest in the UK in boosting that tech investment.
And how can the companies from Malaysia or the councils, for example, because there are companies that are offering smart city solutions, participate? How do they start to connect with those companies? What do they do?
Well, we have a team in the High Commission from the Department for International Trade, and they're always looking for opportunities to link up UK companies with local companies for trade or investment purposes, so people can get in touch with the High Commission. The Tech Fest is, a great example of one of the opportunities for interaction that we have. And we're always looking for more opportunities. The Malaysian government also has been very impressive in the way that they've been trying to encourage growth in this area. Minister Saifuddin, the Minister of Communications, hosted a roundtable last month where we brought together a number of British tech companies to talk to him about how the general context for investment and tech could be improved, and they're very much open to the ideas. And it was striking that in the last budget there was a a real drive to improve the context for tech, including the recognition that telecommunications was a utility alongside water and electricity. That sounds slightly technical, but I think that's a really important message about the importance of telecoms and tech for the future economy here in Malaysia.
Yeah, I was looking forward to listen to Cascoda's product and services, actually, especially for what they're doing. One of the first in the world to be having their tech. So I look forward to Cascoda. So is there like a website that companies from Malaysia who are interested to be in touch with these companies could sign up on, or they can call a number that to be a part of this virtual mission?
Absolutely. There's a website. It's www.techfest.gov.uk. And that will give people insight into who's taking part and the opportunity to sign up for different events.
And just a quick, coming back, because it was a question we were supposed to go into and then we didn't. What were some of the areas of tech expertise that is coming out of UK and that you're very excited about? The big picture.
I think the big picture is really interesting because what you can see is an incredible variety of different tech activities going on in the UK. What would I highlight? I mean, education tech, I think, is really interesting, and it plays to a huge strength in the UK. We're very strong in education, and that's one of the important connectors between the UK and Malaysia as well. So as you probably know, there are 5 UK campuses here. And something like 20,000 Malaysian students studying in the UK. Of course, that has been affected a little bit by COVID, but what we're seeing is continued interest in education in the UK, and introducing more tech into that. That is happening partly because of COVID, because lectures are being taken online, and so the opportunities to use edutech are expanding exponentially. So that's really exciting. Fintech as well. Britain has a very, very powerful banking sector, finance, the City of London. And again, we've got very strong finance connections here with British banks like HSBC and Standard Chartered, long-time participants in the Malaysian market. And Malaysians are keen. We know that it's a very digitized society. Use of mobiles are very high. People are keen to find ways of using electronic means to run their personal finances, and the UK has got great strengths in that area as well. But really, almost everywhere you look, the UK has got strengths in the tech sector.
Okay, we look forward, especially to the few companies that are going to be on board introducing their products and services to Malaysia. So it looks like our time is up. I really appreciate having this quick check and some sound bites from you. We will look forward to having a conversation with all these companies that we will be featuring in Market Access. Once again, thank you very much, High Commissioner.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.